Okay, and we are live.
All right, hello everyone.
Oops.
This is game two of this year's grand final between Franatleti and the defending champion CircleDakkon. Um, and yeah, CircleDakkon played Shadow in game one, so he's gonna play three people for game two. And yeah, I'm joined today by Generic Pie. Hello.
Hello. Hey, it's a real pleasure to be here. Very excited to be commentating on this. And what an exciting matchup we've got today. So game two, Franatleti against CircleDakkon. Hopefully a slightly more balanced game than the previous one.
Yeah, I would say game one was a good game. I think both players showed what they were capable of, but definitely it was very one-sided. Yes, I am hoping for a more exciting game two, even more exciting game two. Um, and let's
Yes.
see what this game has to show today.
Yeah, I agree. I thought both players played really well. I thought it was some really ruthlessly efficient shadow play from
Absolutely,
CircleDakkon.
yeah.
And
I
with
mean,
with
CircleDakkon really suffocated the free people, but the free people's job was made a lot more difficult by very unfriendly action dice and also very unfriendly shadow cards. I mean, starting the game, Cruel Weather didn't actually play any role in the game at all, but I always like starting the game with Cruel Weather in hand as shadow.
I mean,
I don't think you can go wrong with it.
I feel like that shows how incredibly one-sided it was from a luck
Yeah,
perspective that you start with Cruel Weather and you don't even need to play it.
yeah. But then New Powers Rising turn 2, that was a very big swing, I would say. Even without it, though, I feel like, yeah, given the roles that three people had, it would have been a very tough job.
Yeah, I feel like Franatleti was. I mean, I think he did a very good job given almost impossible circumstances. And I
Yeah,
think, like you said in the commentary, I think he had to play to his outs. He had to take some big swings, and it just didn't fall for him. Too many attacks for the Shadow, and too efficient Shadow play from CircleDakkon.
yeah, yeah. I feel like the if one turn had gotten slightly better for Franatleti, and then CircleDakkon gets a really terrible roll, then Franatleti would have had a chance, maybe. But he
Yeah,
basically needed two turns to go his way to have any hopes, and
that
yeah,
was
that
it.
that hasn't happened.
And I thought CircleDakkon was very clever in the way that he mostly covered his weaknesses. You know, he made sure
Yeah,
that he could have charged that Mordor army
yeah, yeah,
up to
yeah.
Woodland Realm, but he kept it in Minas Morgul because there was a decent force in Gondor. He was very clever in the way that he managed his armies, I thought.
I agree. And you start the game with scouts in hand. I
Oh
don't think
yes.
you are
Oh,
unhappy about it.
and a wizard's
Though
staff.
the role is not very good. Yeah, you do have two playable cards, but you don't really want to play the scouts. And I don't think you really want to play wizard
No,
staff
I
here.
don't think you want to play it just yet. Well, he's going for it. Fair enough. I
Okay.
think it's a reasonable
Yeah, I mean,
play.
you can do that. I don't think it's terrible. It's just
It can mean that you get a
usually,
very slow Gandalf the White.
well, you can always choose not to use wizard staff and just draw the hunt tile.
That's
But
a
then
good
if it's a
point.
zero reveal, you're very sad. Um, I'm just feeling like usually you're more worried about time than about fellowship health. So you'd rather see another strategy card than another character card most of the times.
No, I completely agree. And okay, so a better start for the Fellowship than Franatleti
Yeah,
had.
much better. I mean, you roll a movement round one and you're safe. So
You
two
know,
improvements over game one.
but not the best Fellowship dice. Having said that, two mustard dice isn't really.
Yeah, straight musters. You'd hate to see it.
Yeah, not happy with that if I was the
No,
free people.
absolutely not. It's not the end of the world, but it's yeah.
And
I mean,
equally,
getting maybe the elves closer to war is oftentimes a
and
good idea, though the small elven force pool makes that tricky at times.
And it can also speed up the Witch King for the Shadow if that is,
Yes,
you know.
there's that.
And then Athelas is obviously a very strong card, but probably not the kind of card you're looking for, especially when you've already got some good Fellowship Protection in Wizard stuff.
I mean,
it's almost overkill.
What kinds of character cards are you looking for at the start of the game, though?
That's a good question. I suppose something that you could potentially use in combat, maybe.
Yeah, I like actually having Mirror of Galadriel because it's a heroic death, which is one of the rare character cards that can be played without companions and do have a defensive effect. And also sometimes you really want that Will of the West, and Mirror of Galadriel can give it to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
But aside from that, at the start of the game, when I don't know what kind of game I'm heading towards, yeah, there's maybe we proved the Swifter, to get a very efficient Aragorn round 1, but you need the dice to also cooperate with you to make that happen.
Yeah, very true.
All right, so he does go for Gondor. Okay, that makes sense, I think. Like I said, the Elven force pool is very narrow, so yeah, getting the elves to war early is can potentially backfire.
Yeah. It depends. What's he gonna? I wonder if he's gonna take a kind of balanced approach and then get one Gondor, one elves, maybe. Oh no, he's going for the ring. Ring
no,
move.
he's not doing that. I don't like the balanced approach too much because for the elves to have the elven muster to have any effect, you need 2 of them.
I think this play makes a lot of sense given the Wizard staff being extra aggressive with the second move.
I agree. Probably if you don't play Wizard staff, you don't use the ring here.
Absolutely, yeah. And now it gives him a much safer move. Ooh, very powerful card. Not looking good for Lorien.
No, Lorien is gonna fall almost certainly.
But now I think rolling on 6s for the Moria move is really huge for the free people.
Oh, a power to grade. That's an interesting pickup.
I mean, if there was a card you wanted to draw, that would be in the top few.
Well, that's not a character card though, but yeah, absolutely. Power to grade is nice. Oh, and that's not a very good roll for the Shadow.
No. Okay, so just the one move.
Given the Shadow roll, I'd say I would be quite happy with this roll as a free people.
Well, it means you can really operationalize the military.
I mean, you do have stuff you want to do now. I mean, getting the elves to war, given that you have power to grade in hand, might be appealing.
This could be really interesting actually, because if the Shadow decides to go for Lorien this turn,
it's just the one.
Just the one. That's huge. That's really huge.
Do you take Gandalf down for that? Probably.
I think once you use the Wizard stuff, I probably would, especially with Athelas in hand.
Yeah, and you're not getting revealed into Moria anymore, so
I think you have to.
Fear is gone.
I mean, I would 100% kill Gandalf here.
I wouldn't say 100%, but yeah, I am inclined, especially given that you have Bilbo's song and Athelas in hand.
That's what I mean.
I'd be very inclined to kill off Gandalf here, yeah, even though it's just the one. But you're so happy to see that you're not revealed, right?
But that's interesting. That kind of implies he's playing the long game. He feels confident about his ability to defend because he's not that concerned about getting an early Gandalf the White.
Yeah. And he can be. There's no way that Lorien really gets besieged here, I don't think.
Especially
we know with power to grade in hand, that's definitely not happening.
Yeah, and now that he's...
But also because Sauron is not at war and he only has 1 attack die left, so...
Yeah, I was wondering if he would use the hybrid die to get Sauron to war. Right now, it looks like he probably isn't.
Well, he still has the ring, though. I don't know.
That's true. That's true. We obviously don't know what cards he has. So if he doesn't have any useful cards, then I think getting Sauron to war with that ring would be a good play.
Not a bad play, for sure.
Yeah. So I was looking at the ladder rankings earlier today, and Franatleti has a very, very strong Shadow record this year. He's only lost 2 games as Shadow and base.
Yeah, I think he has like an 89% win rate as Shadow.
That's it, 89% win rate. And I think CircleDakkon has like a 61% win rate as free people. So they both have incredibly strong Shadow win rates. CircleDakkons was also floating around somewhere like 89%. So this will be interesting.
I will say though, this game is looking a lot more free people friendly than the last one. So
Absolutely, it looks like the free people are going to be able to put up a solid fight based on the first couple of turns at least.
yeah, and you have scouts in hand. I mean, maybe Franatleti has Swarm of Bats. We don't know that, but you're certainly happy to see scouts. You're certainly happy to see Power to Grade, and Shadow rolling 3 eyes on round 2 is also something you absolutely love to see as free people.
100%.
So this looks like you will probably have some time, which is probably why CircleDakkon was a little more careful about his corruption management.
Indeed. So I
And that
suppose
does make sense.
one play here would be, well,
Well,
let's see what
I would.
He's figuring out what I think the way he's pointing his dice at Dimril Dale looks like he's trying to figure out.
Yeah, he's considering this.
Oh, I
think
see the scouts play. I like that.
It's a very aggressive move. It can get punished if Shadow has Swarm of Bats. Then you just weakened Lorien and didn't get much out of it.
But I think because he's got a Power 2 grade in hand, it's a much stronger play than it would normally be. Because because when he attacks, it's going to put the elves close to war, so it means he's more likely to be. If, for example, the Shadow doesn't have the right cards to remove Power 2 grade, he might be able to genuinely muster Lorien quite a lot. But that would depend on the strategy card the Shadow's holding next turn.
The question is, do you even play Power to Grade this turn? Because Franatleti might not have a very good use for the Palantir, and if he has a strategy card, an army card in hand, then he might be very happy to use the Palantir to get rid of Power to Grade.
Yeah, I think you only do it probably if he uses the ring to get. Well, actually, no, because the free people's players moving first anyway.
Yeah, I don't think you use the ring now. You use the hybrid die next, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe
the question is, what card does Shadow have in hand? If it's not so very good army card, then it would be a bad idea to play Power to Grade. But the odds of that are pretty low. I mean, he only has one strategy card in hand that might not even be an army card, and it could be a very good army card that you really don't want to lose here, like Cothetha Bombar or.
True, very true.
Shadows Gather, I think, would be another card that I would at least be hesitant to throw away at Power to Grade.
Yeah.
I would think you muster the elves once.
I was thinking that use the straight muster to get the elves 1 to war.
Yeah, and then see what happens.
Because I think given he's going for Woodland Realm as well, it makes it makes a lot of sense.
And I was thinking because it was looking as if Franatleti was heading up towards Woodland Realm with the army in Dagolet, which, I mean, you could still go to North Athelion from Dagolet. It's not a clear tell, but it had me feeling that Franatleti was eyeing the Woodland Realm.
Yeah, I think especially when you go for Lorien with the Dol Guldur army, it often points in that direction.
Yeah, and I was thinking maybe instead of going to Dimril Dale, you move the regular from Carrick to Old Forest Road.
That's true.
That's I think the downside of this very aggressive Dimril Dale play.
Although I think if
only have that one scouts.
But I think if he's earmarked the scouts for the Dimril Dale play, then there's less. It's you either scouts in one or the other, right?
Yeah, but I mean, if you don't move Carrick to Old Forest Road, then the North will probably not take part of this game. Whereas if you get scouts from Old Forest Road into Woodland Realm, that's massive, I think.
Well, he's looking to do.
Yeah, he's doing it anyways.
Anyway, yeah.
I think it makes sense. You might just let the regular die in Dimril Dale.
He also might, depending on which order they attack in, he might be able to bait one Swarm of Bats. Depending on, because we obviously don't know the Shadow cards.
Yeah.
So at least that would give him value for his scouts if the Shadow does have a swarm of bats.
And you muster Sauron to war. Yeah, I think that makes sense. You
I had a feeling he would do
you
that.
have a fairly useless Palantir die now. You might only have good dice next round, so I think it's a good call. You definitely want Sauron at war. You can definitely make use of one more muster next round to get the Witch King.
Absolutely.
And if you have excess musters, not so bad. You can muster the Southrons to war.
Okay, so we got Gwaihir the Windlord and Book of Mizarble.
Many eyes. Well, not that many, but compared to last game.
Okay, so this is, well, you're kind of hoping to get hit to get Gandalf this turn.
Yeah.
And
against 3 eyes, there's decent odds that you
yeah,
will
very solid.
And I think, honestly, given that the Shadow only has 2 attack dice this round, you wouldn't be too sad if Gandalf survives this round.
That's true. It's been a relatively slow start for the Shadow.
Yeah. Shadow was rolling a lot of eyes and quite a number of Palantirs and musters, and not so very many attacks.
Yeah, moving once.
So I would actually say that I wouldn't mind being the 3 people in this situation here.
Indeed, I mean, when
I'm not saying they are massively ahead, but like my gut feeling tells me 3 people has an edge here.
It's just not enough attacks here for the Shadow this turn.
Yeah.
Obviously, they can get the Southrons to war, which is handy, and they have already moved the Farharad army to Umbar. It doesn't necessarily mean they have Corsairs, but
I mean, if they have it, it's not like you can do anything about it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's really no counterplay to very early Corsairs of Umbar. Maybe, I mean, sure, if you have Kidan's ships, then that's nice, though oftentimes that won't even be enough.
Yeah, my Panther play is usually just crying.
Yeah, that's sort of my natural reaction.
This doesn't tend to help, but it's just, you know.
It helps a little. You can always go to the venting channel and complain about your bad luck.
Cry in there.
That sometimes helps. All right, and we see a strategy card played that was not an army card, but he only has a single strategy card in hand.
Okay, and that's a nice, useful early card.
CircleDakkon, I'm very happy to see that. Yeah, and he plays Power to Grade, it seems like. I agree with this. Because there's good odds that it's not an army card, or that it's actually a very useful army card.
Yeah, I think ideally you still want to play that after they attack into Dimrill Dale, although there's no guarantee they're going to do that this turn.
I think you value the cycle from Gandalf before he might die this round against 3 eyes.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
And I mean, Swords and Eriador, that's definitely not the card you were looking for, but it's also, in case you have to discard, that's a card you wouldn't feel too bad letting go of, I think.
At least you're getting through the deck.
Yeah, exactly. Finding maybe Thranduil's Archers, Celeborn's Galadrim, Dane Ironfoot's Guard, which I think is also a very, very strong card. And immediately Franatleti gets rid of it. Okay.
Not messing around.
Probably he didn't have a very good army card in hand. Probably not Corsairs of Umbar. Because I think if you have Corsairs of Umbar, you do not get rid of Power to Grade here. I think.
So this is interesting. There's an argument here for just putting the Lorien army under siege with the small before you combine.
You can. You only have 2 attacks.
You'd have to commit both. That's what I mean. Or you wait till next turn and you try and force him.
Oh, you mean attacking into Dimrill Dale? Okay, and then.
But you'd have the only way it would work or make any sense would be, and he's not doing it, so it's not going to happen. Would be to actually put Lorien under siege with the North Anduin Vale army.
Yeah,
which is quite inefficient
without the Moria army.
Yeah,
so
it's pretty inefficient.
Would be wasting some die.
And you're also putting them to war yourself. I think what I imagine the Shadow will want to do is wait until there's a turn where the 3 people has hopefully fewer musters than they have right now.
Is that something you can really wait for?
Well, you can at least attack into Old Forest Road first rather than attacking into the
but if
elves.
You do that, then you might not be getting the Witch King this turn.
That's a very good point.
I mean, do you mind? I don't know. Yeah, that makes sense.
But the problem is if you do,
Gandalf.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Or maybe not get Gandalf. But like I said, I mean, you're not too sad here, right? You can move a third time, get to 6 moves, and Shadow's still on 0 victory point. Doesn't even have anything under siege.
yeah, it's a little bit.
I
Oh,
wouldn't be mad about this at all. Like I'm happy with this as 3 people.
in the War of the Ring terms, it's kind of a first world problem. Like, oh, boo-hoo, I
Yeah.
didn't get hit going through more with my second move against 3 eyes. But I do understand why Franatleti is frustrated there, because he would have preferred to have got Gandalf the White.
You mean CircleDakkon?
Oh,
Well, he
Circle.
hasn't typed anything.
Oh, right.
So presumably he's also fine with this outcome.
Oh, I see. Oh, I thought, because that's it. It's kind of, as a Shadow, I'm not sure what you're happier with.
Yeah,
keeping
me
the 3
neither.
people on,
And now
on
what do
4
you do as
dice.
3 people? Do
Mm.
you attack Emerald Dale? Bring Lorien to war so you can muster the Witch King? Probably 3 people is gonna move a third time because they really want to kill off Gandalf now.
I think this is
But
why.
they might instead just muster up Lorien even more. Okay, he goes for Old Forest Road,
Yes.
so we're not seeing Witch King.
That's what I thought he might do, because I feel like if he does go for Dimwell Dale, then the 3 people can use that will to muster in Lorien, then muster first move next turn.
Yeah, they could.
And then Lorien's just untakeable. I suppose you can pivot to Rivendell.
But then you can always go to Rivendell, I guess.
But that's also quite
and you
slow.
delay Gandalf, because if the first action next round is to muster another lead into Lorien, then he only has 3 actions left. With an alive Gandalf still guiding the Fellowship, so yeah, I don't know.
Could create an interesting situation. Oh no, the South one's aren't at war yet. I was going to say it could create a situation whereby Day Without Dawn would be a crucial card.
I mean, you 100% play Scouts here, no? I mean, there's no card from Shadow. He doesn't even have a strategy card, and you have 6 cards in hand.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you have to do it. You might even draw another Scouts next turn,
It's possible, yeah.
And the way the
There's
game's
2
gone,
more in the deck, so it's a 10% chance. It's not that low.
The Dimwell Dale guy has still been very valuable, even if he can't scout.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, he's a muster, and you will replace him with an elite, so it's +1 hit point. And maybe you can even get 2 elites for it.
So I wonder what you do here as the...
Move again. Or do you mean as Shadow?
Actually, you're right. Yeah, it makes absolute sense to move again. Then...
I don't think there's anything you want to do other than move the Fellowship. If an attack on Dimwell Dale had taken place, then maybe you would think different.
Yep.
But since Gandalf is still guiding the Fellowship, you really want
to kill him. There we go. Okay,
and
well,
there's a hit.
At least you get...
And it's a 2. Oh, wonderful. 2 hits, no reveals. That is
kind of the opposite of the previous game in terms of the...
I was just about to say that. This is a much smoother 3 people experience. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's going to be 6 moves within 3 turns. Very healthy Fellowship.
Well, the Fellowship has been hit 3 times. Once it was blocked by Wizard Staff.
Yeah.
And then...
Oh, and you get Celeborn's as well.
Celeborn's Galadriel is very nice. What do you get rid of?
I think you get rid of one of the advantageous positions.
Probably Swords and Eriador, though, yeah.
Depends. Swords and Eriador gives you cycling. If he doesn't really think he's going to play Mizarble this game.
But do you have time to play Swords and Eriador just to cycle?
Fair play. Probably not,
And
especially because you're gonna cycle from Celeborn's anyway.
Yeah, and you can what you can think about is sending Gandalf to Grey Havens, play Book to make the duel line even more bothersome. Let's see. But yeah, he gets rid of Swords and Eriador. Makes a lot of sense, I think.
Yeah. I think
and also Shadow still only has that one strategy card in hand, which might make his attacks a little awkward.
Also,
he might not have a good combat card to play.
It's not ideal, but I think also when you have Gwai here in hand, it does give you kind of a real, pull the emergency cord and do something crazy way of getting Gandalf into Erebor.
Yeah, right. He does have Gwai here.
So that's it's a real bit of an emergency play, but
Yeah, but then you would have to put Gandalf to Woodland Realm, right? I don't think you want to do that.
no. But I guess if you had like an excess of character dice, you could potentially just move him from Lefangorn.
Okay, luck is starting to turn slightly. No
Oh yeah.
will this round, and only that one muster. So that's
That's a pretty
better for the Shadow.
great actually. I think having Celeborns is hugely helpful in this situation because otherwise you'd be really limited in what you can muster.
Yeah. I mean, now we know that Fellowship cannot make it in this round anymore, because that was my concern, that they could make it in.
How many attacks have they got?
Random.
If you use a ring, there is a. I mean,
there was a chance that they could make it in, but not anymore.
Oh wow, okay, that would have been crazy. Turn 4, Mordor.
Yeah, I mean, it was Fellowship was on move 6 with 3 character dice and the ring still left, so they could have potentially made it.
I'm thinking here, I feel like we obviously have the knowledge that the 3 people are holding Celeborn's Galadrim. Is there a world in which the Shadow can take down Lorien?
Yes, there is.
I mean, I suppose as soon as it's put under
because
siege.
you have Celeborns in hand, you might, like, if North Anduin Vale attacks Dimraldale, you have that one muster.
And then where'd you put it?
Stronghold.
You might put it in Woodland Realm because you have Celeborn.
And then it might only be 6 hit points in Lorien defending.
But if you use
I think though, if
die,
I'm the Shadow, I attack Woodland Realm first.
Right.
So that's also kind of awkward because then you muster the North again.
Yeah.
And then Dale might become a problem.
I guess you just I would be tempted to just attack Dimraldale and then just see where they muster.
I think that's what you would do. Attack Dimraldale and then see. Because you're also kind of happy if the 3 people use the muster now instead of hiding. Because Shadow at 0 victory points still hasn't put any stronghold under siege. You want the Fellowship to not move.
Yep.
And then just hope that combat goes your way, because yeah, the action dice haven't necessarily been terrible or anything, but just 3 people is moving pretty fast.
And looking at the cards the 3 people has, they can afford to be very, very aggressive with the way that they move with Athelas and Bilbo's in hand.
Yeah, I mean, you might just hide with a muster, move again, and play Athelas.
Yeah, like you could just pretty much for the rest of the game just go full 100% sprint, not even worry about defending too much, because I think the Shadow military, without something like Corsairs, it's going to be very hard for the Shadow to catch up if the 3 people can keep rolling. If they get a will,
use the muster this round, then Lorien might only have 6 hit points, right? So that's not a whole lot. I think you use the muster to actually muster an elite into Lorien. Now
that's the more balanced play, the more sensible play. Because I suppose there is definitely a world where the 3 people don't roll a will for another 3 turns.
There's a world, and if you're Shadow here, you are hoping for this world, even though it's a little cruel.
But
Franatleti has really had a lot of bad luck in game 1, so
definitely. Franatleti is really hoping that CircleDakkon gets a couple of those, like 3 Palantirs and a muster.
Yeah, I mean, he had those rolls.
That's what I mean. 1. He's hoping that they come back around right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Dimraldale, yep.
Yeah.
Obviously, no scouts left. I mean, you could play the advantageous.
Yeah, you could. I still like the idea of Gandalf maybe paying Grey Havens another visit.
Oh yeah, that makes sense actually. Yeah, for some reason I was thinking.
And I mean, even if you play it, the odds of Shadow getting 1 hit are pretty high. I think you roll 5 dice on 6s and another die hitting on 5s.
The only issue is, I suppose, with the Southrons and Easterlings are quite ready to put Erebor under siege. So if he goes to Grey Havens, you're broadcasting.
Yeah,
you're broadcasting. I think if I was a Shadow, as soon as I see that, I'm like going on a beeline for Erebor.
Yeah. All right.
So he does play the advantageous, but unfortunately for him, the reroll hits.
Yeah.
So almost worked. Sneaky little Nazgul up to his usual tricks.
He's done his job.
Yeah, good Nazgul.
He might be considered for a promotion.
To Super Nazgul. I believe that's the official term.
I would have thought Nazgul number 2 after the Witch King. All right, so the Elven Muster comes down. Not a big surprise. Do you use your ring to put Lorien under siege this turn?
God,
I think you do.
I think like Franatleti's going to be so sad when he plays Killerborns first thing next turn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I feel that's almost like the dagger in your heart, the Shadow, in this situation. Because, I mean, where'd you get the victory points from? At the moment, you're thinking Juline,
I mean, you can still
Lorien,
take
that's
Lorien,
7.
right? You have a 13 hit point army.
True. That's, I mean, it's
If
possible,
you have
but you need
like Balrog,
you need some luck
then...
in Lorien now because it's 8 HP
Yeah,
against what's that, 6 plus 7, so 13. So 8 against 13 is not great, really.
It's not great, but
you're probably going to need reinforcements.
Balrog,
yeah, Balrog would be huge.
It might be possible.
I've seen those fall before, but
me too.
Well, I guess
my Elven armies usually are not very durable.
Yeah, I guess anyone who's played much.
I have a lot more faith in my dwarves than in my elves. Like 6 HP in Erebor usually last longer than 7 or 8 HP.
So I've just got a message from Wems who said, I watched them live. Was the advantageous position allowed to be played not in the Free People's Borders? No, that's a very good point. So that was played in Dimril Dale. Cool. So luckily it didn't do anything in the end, but that would have been an illegal play if that had an impact.
And we didn't even notice. Neither did the players.
Yeah, I mean, I was suggesting it. I was like, you should play advantage.
Yeah.
It's one of those easy mistakes to make, but yeah, well spotted, Wems.
Yeah, I think we don't really need to roll back to that point because it didn't make a difference anyways.
No, exactly. All right, so Fellowship is flipped, understandably. I think you just keep moving at this point, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else you can do with a character die, and I am 100% sure you do not use your last ring to turn a character die into something else when the Shadow has 0 victory points.
This could be really crucial. What cards does the Shadow have? If he draws a card... Oh, here we go. Okay,
it's a Spain. Okay. And it's a 2. I mean, that's very good. You'd love a reveal here, so the Fellowship doesn't move again. But Corruption is starting to become an issue.
But
there's a lot of tiles being drawn.
Athelas and Bilbo's song, though, like even if he has a lucky candles, all it takes is a average Athelas to pretty much cancel it out. So,
yeah, now you use the ring to put Lorien under siege.
100%. Yeah.
And the good thing is, at least, that if, well, only if you reveal, I guess. I was thinking if the Fellowship first thing plays Caliborn and then hides.
Oh, and Mithril. He's got Mithril as well.
Yeah, but now you have 3 very strong late game character cards. And right now you have different priorities, right? You want to get Gandalf the White. You want to hide. You want to move twice. You want to play Caliborn's Galadriel.
Yeah.
You can't keep all the cards.
I mean, it doesn't feel like losing to Corruption is a remotely likely possibility at this point. So having
you never know.
You never know, but it doesn't feel like it's likely.
I mean, Fellowship is up to 6 Corruption, and I've seen Athelas fail miserably, even with Aragorn or Strider's guide.
And I suppose there is a meat shield blocking Bilbo's song, so it would probably take maybe a lot of one tiles so that he doesn't want to use a random.
Yeah.
Followed by candles for 3 and an Athelas whiff or something like that to get it really high.
I'm just thinking there might be a case where you don't really have time to play those cards. Sometimes
I know what you mean.
Shadow isn't really putting enough pressure to make that a likely case at this point in time, but you never know.
Although 3 people might be able to take their time, given
They might. I'm just thinking with that reveal,
what
there
card.
are some good odds that Fellowship doesn't make it into Mordor next turn.
What
or
card
this
would
turn,
you
rather.
kill here? Do you think?
I think I'd kill the Ents.
Do you just feel like it's
Yeah.
not a priority right now?
That's what I would be feeling like.
And at
I
least
mean,
you have
Nameless
2
Wood is,
more
I
in the
think,
deck, right?
one of the good end cards, one of the 2 very good end cards. But
Oh, he's thinking about Guai here. I don't like getting rid of Guai here.
I mean, do you want to keep 5 character cards in hand and
Yeah,
kill your 5
true.
foes? I don't think so. So I think you 100% kill a character card.
That's
And I
true.
don't think you want to kill Mithril, Bilbo, or Athelas, given that Fellowship is on 6 corruption. So I definitely go for either Wahir or the Ents. I think Wahir is more impactful than the average
Just
end
having
card.
it up your sleeve. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess when you think about it in terms of,
Especially,
there's 2 cards that do what Guahir does, Guahir and We Prove the Swifter. There
yeah.
are 3 end cards, so the odds of you drawing another end card are higher than you drawing We Prove the Swifter.
And also because you already used Book of Mazabul in combat, the Grey Haven idea that I had no longer holds merit. So Wahir will be a threat
Absolutely.
if you put Gandalf to Fangorn.
Franatleti says great cards then. Yeah, he's right.
Yeah.
He's absolutely
And
right.
he's right, and the game is panning out in a way where those character cards are actually meaningful. And yeah, he basically has not quite the Holy Trinity, right? He has Mithril Code and Bilbo's Song, and then instead of There Is Another Way, he has Athelas.
Yeah.
Which with this current situation is even better, but yeah, obviously There Is Another Way
It's
is
kind of
overall a much stronger card.
the gold, the silver, and the 4th place.
Yeah.
The bronze is.
Well, I would say There Is Another Way is probably the gold.
Do you think so? I tend to value Mithril over There Is Another Way, but There Is Another Way is hugely powerful.
It depends on the situation. There are situations where you are short 1 move, and There Is Another Way can make you get that extra move. Mithril Code is
more when there's red eyes in the pool.
Good if you're on the final step. Then it's perfect. But before then, there's a risk that if you put a red tile back, that it comes back to haunt you again.
The ghost of the red tile.
Yeah. Or that, yeah. Sometimes if you desperately want to not get revealed and you use it on like an eye or something, and then you draw into red. I mean, that rarely happens because you usually like to hold Mithril for as long as you can.
Yeah, but Hilly's also noticed the misplay of book or advantageous. So
yeah, but I think it's not been impactful enough.
Yeah,
and it's been too much time that I
mean,
don't think you should roll back to that point.
It's that luckily the Nazgul did its job. Thank you, Nazgul. You saved us a very awkward situation.
Yeah, if it had made a difference, then and to be honest, I think you would discard like if you had 8 cards in hand right here, you would probably discard Book of Mazabul anyways. Probably.
I agree.
Maybe not. Maybe you discard the Ents and Wahir and keep Book of Mazabul.
He's really weighing this one up.
I think it's the Ents.
I mean, at the moment, I think the only way that he goes for... You've already got a pretty well-defended Helm's Deep. Gandalf isn't even in Fangorn yet.
First round of combat and Forts of Eisen. If
True.
both these regulars die, then suddenly...
But he's at least got Edoras across to Helm's Deep, which is better than nothing. Yeah. And you'd feel like you'd need probably a new Powers Rising to make Helm's Deep attack likely within the next 2 turns.
Or many musters.
Or an absolute ton of musters. But even if I got a ton of musters... Actually, yeah, if I did get a ton of musters as a shadow, that would be my first port of call. There's not really another obvious location to muster.
Song. Wow.
Oh okay. My! I mean, I can get it actually because he's got so many good cards.
Yeah, I can see the point. It does make a corruption victory. I wouldn't say likely or anything, but certainly more likely.
And I think because he's got such a hefty bag of meat in the Fellowship. You know, is he going to get full value out of Bilbo's Song in this game? He might not even get
Probably
down to
not.
Gollum, you
And
know?
now, since Franatleti didn't roll any eyes, Bilbo's Song might not be needed.
Okay, well this is good for Shadow because the Fellowship is definitely not getting into Mordor this turn.
Oh, I'll be right back.
Oh, actually, wait, can it? It can with a ring, sorry. So if they hide using... Okay, yeah, I take it back. They can definitely get into Mordor this turn. If they're not revealed on the... Oh no, even if they are revealed, they could use the Aragorn's hide it twice and then use a ring. So with Shadow, what are you thinking about here? Not much mustering possible for the
Okay, sorry, my son had some very important news for me. I'm back now.
No worries. So how many attacks have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4 attacks.
Well, crucially, I'm more looking at the 3 people, because I think
they can just get into Mordor if they use a ring.
If they use their final ring,
they basically have to commit
into Mordor without Gandalf and without rings.
They'd have to pretty much commit their entire turn. If they're revealed on the Daggerlad move, they'd have to use every single die to get into Mordor this turn.
Well, then they don't muster in Lorien.
And they don't muster in Lorien. They wouldn't be able to play
My thinking
Celeborn's.
was more of I slam Celeborn's Galadriel down probably.
And then gamble on not getting revealed into that. Actually, having said, there's only one die in the box, so it's pretty unlikely you're going to get hit on the Daggerlad move.
Well, there might be Nazgul Search.
Oh, that's true. I think whether the Shadow has Cruel Weather could be absolutely huge in the outcome of this game.
If you have Cruel Weather here, that's
potentially
amazing for the Shadow.
Yeah, and potentially vital for the Shadow.
That depends on how the game pans out.
True.
Maybe CircleDakkon doesn't even go for that move, because the risk is you make it into Mordor very early, but you are still on 4 dice. You accelerate the Mouth of Sauron, and
then suddenly the military just goes insane.
Bad.
Yeah, the Shadow.
For example, if next round you roll Will of the West and 3 non-movement dice, do you move once or do you get Gandalf? And then if you random into Strider, it's even more awkward because then you need to hide to be able to move, and yeah, it's all very
interesting.
And also, if for some reason Strider dies this turn, you get revealed going into Mordor, and you do roll something like 1 Will of the West and 3 other dice. If you get Gandalf, you also take 1 extra corruption for not even hiding.
Right.
And yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
I'm just saying there's some risks into if you go for the Mordor route this turn.
Yeah, definitely. Might be better to have a more balanced.
Oh,
that's interesting. That is very interesting.
So you wanna go for Erebor?
So I guess he's thinking I want to take
only 5 points, and then take Dale probably from Erebor, so the North can't muster up.
Yeah. And he's thinking that hybrid right now would be earmarked to probably hide the fellow, or use for the ring purpose. So,
yeah, I don't know.
Is he really going to use that hybrid to move the Iron Hills to Erebor?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, a 5. Oh, reroll. So the game is teasing him.
Well, I mean, there might be Cruel Weather, though I think if you had it, you wouldn't put the Nazgul on the Fellowship. That makes me feel like he doesn't have it.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, do you put the Nazgul on, and you'd play it right now if you have it?
Nazgul Search.
Or maybe like an Orc Patrol or a foul thing or something.
Foul thing could be potentially amazing here, yeah.
Oh, he's got something. He's taken his time. Maybe he's trying to choose which one. Which one shall I use? How shall I torture you today? No, this is the. It creates an interesting dynamic only seeing it from one player's perspective, because usually
And
when
I'm
I do
thinking here,
these,
since well, depends of course on the card that's being played now. But if nothing too bad happens, you might actually use the Palantir to play Athelas and then use a ring to move and get into Mordor.
Iturralde / Captain of the Ring has said, I would say this move telegraphs no Nazgul Search or Strike or Cruel Weather. Yeah, I think so.
Otherwise, you would slam dunk those cards down, I think. I mean, maybe not Nazgul Search, because that
you
might
might
not actually
want to
do anything.
you might want to get the value of, because Nazgul Search would probably mean you get into Mordor anyway, would you?
Yeah.
Hide and then move? Yeah, you would. So maybe you would
you would
save the Nazgul
certainly-
Search for Morannon, because it's pretty unlikely you get a reveal
Yeah,
into Morannon anyway with one eye.
Well, it's not that unlikely. It's, I don't know, 30 to 40%, I would guess.
Oh, he has got
there
Nazgul
is
Search.
Nazgul Search.
There we
Oh.
go.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you have Nazgul Search. Would it?
It's forcing him to use a ring. I mean, it does help him to take.
Yeah, that's true.
Arable.
It does force the ring out, but
Yeah.
you force the ring anyways, because if he doesn't use the ring, he doesn't make it to Mordor.
I just think he's going to need a lot of luck in that Lorien fight to stand a chance here, or the Free People just never rolling worlds again.
The most important thing for the Shadow is that that corruption game at the moment, I would say.
It's probably their best bet, to be fair.
I mean, Shadow is still on 0 victory points the turn that Free People might make it to Mordor.
It could be one of those games where, because there's a big old fellowship, you just stack the box with eyes and pray.
Wouldn't be the worst idea, maybe. I mean, a lot of standard tiles have already been drawn out.
But when you do that as Shadow, it's the kind of game where you're also really, really hoping the Free People don't have Athelas and don't have Mithril and Sting, which they do have.
Yeah.
You know, in a game where the Free People has the luxury of being able to discard Bilbo's Song and it actually being, you know, a reasonable play, does tell you that they've got a very stocked corruption defense hand.
Yeah, but as Shadow, you don't know that.
That's what I mean. You don't know that.
Free People hold 5 character cards and they discard one, and you're thinking, well.
But more in terms of like whether that's going to be a successful strategy, you're almost dependent on the Free People probably not having that type of hand.
But I will say what's a little risky here as Free People is if you hide and move and you get revealed going into Morannon and you lose Strider, you never got to play Athelas.
That's true.
I think there's some real consideration for not making it to Mordor this round. You just hide, you play Athelas,
yeah,
and then you wait for next turn.
That
way you delay Mouth of Sauron. Yeah.
You get to play. Well, you don't need to rush Celeborns right now because Free People clearly aren't prioritizing
it's
Lorien.
not looking like Ringwraiths are abroad will strike Lorien.
No, that would be.
That's very sad.
Given he's just moved all of the Nazgul leadership to East Rune, that would be very inefficient.
That would be, yeah. I think honestly, as Free People, you might just not do anything.
Just sacrifice your dice. Just don't do anything.
No, just pass.
I'm just joking.
I mean, sure, you risk something like Morgul Wound or
okay.
Thing, I guess, is the thing you're most afraid of.
So Southron's at war. So he has used the Palantir. So he can still use the hybrid to play Celeborns or to play a ring to get into Mordor. Those are the two obvious plays, I think.
Yeah, with using the Palantir to hide, it's looking more of a I want to get to Mordor now.
Yeah, and actually, there's no reason to rush Celeborns at all.
No, there's no reason to rush Celeborns.
Okay. So that's okay. That's good. Good muster usage.
Upgrading an ore thing. I usually like the straight elite musters over the upgrades.
Really?
Yeah, usually I do.
Just because you keep the stack of regulars in there.
Yeah, you keep the stack of regulars, and if you upgrade like twice, you have 10 hit points, but only divided over 5 elites. So if you lose any hits, you have to downgrade elites, and then it doesn't. I don't know. It feels like a more fragile army because every time you downgrade an elite, you lose the leadership, you lose the pressing potential.
That is interesting. I've never thought about it that way. Bahili says,
and also you kind of want to leave some regulars behind for Saruman anyway. So I feel like the voice ability is not even that useful. And since you only have those 6 elites, and there's something like half orcs and goblinmen, I like having at least one elite in the stockpile, so to speak.
Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah,
so Franatleti not cycling a card, so that suggests to me that he has something useful in terms of character cards in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
And probably not the Balrog, because I think if he had the Balrog, I'd be more tempted to try Lorien and cycle the Balrog, finding some corruption material potentially. And also interesting is that he can freely use the character die to attack this round.
You know what?
Because the only way the Fellowship makes it in is if they use the ring, and then you can use the ring to play a character card.
I do wonder, because he took so long to decide to play Nazgul's Search, that means he must have another strong character card in hand. Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken that long to play it, I don't think, unless he was weighing up whether to play it in Morannon.
Yeah, I think that is a very valid concern. Do you play it now, or do you play it in Morannon?
Yeah, maybe that was why it took so long.
But okay, now he plays On They Went.
Yeah, he's expecting them to.
It really signals that he doesn't have Cruel Weather, but he might have something else that's useful.
Well, he hasn't got a ring now, so he couldn't. If he did have Cruel Weather, he couldn't play it anyway.
Well, but that's what I was saying. As long as Free People doesn't give him a ring,
right, of course,
he
because they
doesn't
have
need to play it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You're absolutely right. Because he knows that he's going to get a ring. Oh, reroll.
And it's safe. Okay.
But if he's got Cruel Weather, then that's a good thing.
Then that's the good thing, yeah. That would be the best card, hands down.
Here we go. This would be epic if he does have Cruel Weather right now. What's it going to be? What's it going to be? What's it going to be?
Play.
It's going to be take that attack Erebor.
Maybe. I mean, that's certainly possible as well.
You don't want them to play Dane's first thing next turn.
Maybe Nazgul Strike. Maybe something like Orc Patrol.
Nazgul Strike.
Nazgul Strike. Okay.
Good
That's
call.
pretty good odds to hit now.
I think he'd be pretty...
2 dice on a 50-50.
Yeah, surely. He needs to hit here. He needs to hit here.
Yeah.
Oh! Oh my god.
Oh no. Oh, that's a big swing.
That is brutal.
That was a 75% chance to hit.
Oh, it's not Franatleti's final.
Yeah, this now
and
makes
he's just got File as well.
Yeah.
And then...
Yeah, that's super rough now. You really needed to get at least one hit on the Fellowship. Because now you have no pressure on the military game anymore. That ship has sailed. You're on 0 victory points. Oh, you really need the 3 people to have some terrible rolls, like no more movement or something, and then...
I mean, yeah, he needs really low movement for probably at least 2 of the next 3 turns, and he needs his military to go, like, immaculately well. He probably needs Corsairs to have a chance in this game, I'd say, right now.
I mean, he could allocate 5 eyes, but that's probably not a winning play because of Atlas.
Yeah, because
and also Mithril Code.
And the 3 people can just go slow. Like, they've got so much...
Move once per turn.
Move once per turn, play Athalas, play Mithril, like... Although, if you put 5 in, it's quite possible that Mithril does an eye into an eye.
Yeah, that's the other thing, and why Mithril is only really strong on the final step, when it can only get better than the worst card you've just pulled. But yeah, this is looking like a very massive advantage for the 3 people now, given the cards in hand. Otherwise, I would say it's more even. Well, not even, but more doable for the Shadow.
Yeah.
But against Atlas, File, and Mithril Code, that's tough.
What do you get rid of now?
I would still get rid of the Ents, I think.
I think I'd get rid of Fear 5 Foes now. You don't need 2 shield walls, and Imrahil's stronger.
Yeah, it's tough. Maybe keep the Ents because Orthanc has been mustered somewhat. I'm just thinking if you muster Orthanc up fully, then 1 end card will not be enough to hold Helm's Deep anyways, probably.
I think
Though, like I mentioned, if he keeps upgrading an Orthanc, then he's running out of musters, and he might just attack with a 10 hit point army, and then the end card might do enough damage that it's not enough.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the other thing why I like the straight musters more, because you can only upgrade twice. And then you can do a 3rd muster, getting the final elite in, and then you have a 12 hit point army. So that's 3 musters you can use to buff the army up, and then you'll have to resort to putting single regulars in there. Whereas if you use your musters to just straight up muster elites, you can do that 5 times, adding 10 hit points.
Well, I
And then
suppose,
you'll have a
yeah, because when you think
14
about it, your
point army.
like adding an elite is adding 2 HP, and upgrading to regulars is adding 2 HP. So you're
Yeah, exactly.
you're not
That's the
actually
thing.
adding any more HP. Yeah, of course.
No.
Yeah.
You're adding more pressing potential in theory, though, like I mentioned, that also gets reduced because any hit you take is a downgrade for sure.
It melts quite quickly.
Yeah. You do add the leadership because of the Saruman ability.
All right, so we are in Mordor. That's a very so yeah, look at those tiles that have been used. Only a single reveal.
Yeah.
And it was
Well, there has been an eye, so there have been 2 reveals.
Ah, yes, there was an eye as well, right? When was?
Yeah, I think he ran into a single eye. Yeah.
And that's obviously gone back into the
Yeah. The hunt pool is looking very good, I would say.
Yes, I mean there's one red. I think.
Yeah, that's 1 red, but it's I think the weakest red, the 3. That is unlikely to change the outcome of this game at this point in time.
Because it doesn't reveal.
It doesn't reveal, and 3 damage seems like something that 3 people can handle.
Absolutely.
Oh, interesting. So Franatleti is allocating 2 eyes. And that's a very good roll for the 3 people. You can finally get Gandalf.
And you can move quite comfortably. Yeah, I think.
And you can move once. Yeah, that's all good.
Yeah, that's.
The one problem is that you still didn't get to play Athelas. And you might still lose Aragorn or Strider to random. That is something that could certainly happen.
And it could be awkward if for example, you hit an. I guess if you hit an eye, you probably just have to kill Aragorn. Sorry, Strider.
No, I think if you run into an eye, you take the random.
But the problem is then, what if you get a Hobbit and then you're up to 9 corruption or something?
Or you hope for Athelas to do the work. I mean, Isildur's Bane is gone. So it's really only Candles of Corpses that you're super worried about.
Yeah, but they have no rings and they have no means of playing Myth Athelas, and then if he has candles, he could play it immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the game certainly isn't over. The breaking of the Fellowship. Oh, interesting.
Oh, okay. I love this when this is played in. Okay, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Oh no, wait. Oh no, this is in combat. Sorry. I thought it was.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't paying attention clearly.
Fellowship isn't. Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, do you keep that card in hand? But I think it makes sense to cycle. His breaking of the Fellowship.
I mean, there's still 3. I think there are still 3 threes in the pool. I think I would have held that.
But there's also too many eyes in there. It's such a swingy card. If you hit an eye with breaking,
when you've already stopped,
not only can you not play a character card anymore, you also didn't inflict any damage. And you want to get the cycle going because Shadow really needs those red tiles.
So in the chat, they're discussing where Gandalf is.
In Fangorn.
Oh yeah, he's finally shown up.
Oh wow, 3 hits back from CircleDakkon. So Erebor is not rolling over.
Oof.
But I think you're in a corruption game.
Well, after that roll, you're 100% in a. I mean, he already pretty much was, but after that.
Yeah, he was pretty. I mean, barring some bizarre luck for the Shadow where all the strongholds just roll over, and you also find Corsairs without kid and ships. I think you take the move now as 3 people. There's some value maybe over playing Celeborn's Galadriel now, maybe finding Dane Ironfoot's Guard, but I think you want to move.
I think personally,
maybe Shadow found a nice. Oh, and there is the
okay, interesting.
And it's 3 damage. So yeah, you take the random, and if it's Strider, you're gonna be very sad losing Athelas.
Pippin. Okay, so this is exactly what I was talking about, because now the corruption is creeping up to dangerous levels.
Yeah, but crucially, Isildur's Bane is gone.
Isildur's Bane is gone. He's relying on candles really, but Athelas is huge in that respect. But I think that was
another red tile. Nice.
Ooh man, okay. This is interesting.
But you still have Mithril, you still have the file. But yeah, certainly. I mean, stuff can go wrong here.
The game needed that to keep it.
And
to
I
keep it
think
exciting.
now you might consider allocating 4 eyes next turn. I mean, I certainly would consider that very strongly.
Okay, Josh Davis says Free is behind. I would still say Free is ahead at this point.
I would say 3 people is certainly ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shadow needs a lot of luck in the hunt game.
But I think that red
But now with
tile
the 3,
has
yeah, it's more balanced now, for sure.
yeah. It felt, I would have said before that it was like 90-95% Free. Now it's more like 80. Sorry, Shadow.
Yeah, something in that ballpark.
And now it's maybe like 80-85% Shadow
80% for the Shadow.
to win.
Really?
Oh,
No.
sorry. No. I'm talking. Oh, sorry. I'm getting confused. I meant the other way around. I meant 3 people. Yeah.
Yeah, for the 3 people maybe.
Yeah. I'm not
Not
insane.
for the Shadow. I mean, if you look at effective corruption, you still have 8 hit points in the Fellowship. So Fellowship is effectively at 0 corruption.
Ooh, new post
with
rising.
a fairly pleasant hunt pool still remaining.
Yeah. No,
yeah,
I think it's hugely in favor of Free.
Yeah. But now we're in a situation where Shadow might actually take the corruption game.
Definitely. If that second red gets hit. Strider 656 says it's up to Java. Java wins the trophy. This does feel like a game where it's gonna come down to some mad Mordor Java shenanigans, to be honest.
Maybe, yeah. Shadow needs it.
How's the stats? I'm not sure.
We
There
cannot see them.
haven't actually been that many dice rolled. Like
Yeah,
been,
that's true. We didn't really see any combat.
Yeah, the free people had a pretty good run, I'd say, to Mordor.
Yeah.
They did get hit a few times, but
And I think
Wizard
the
Staff
action
blocked one.
dice were not kind for the Shadow because they rolled not too many attacks, I think.
So Erebor again, probably using this more to cycle
No
cards than
card,
anything.
it's a little
No
tough.
card. Oh, that's interesting. I thought he
Yeah.
might have been trying to cycle there. Oh,
Yeah, but
he
he
hasn't
doesn't have
got
a character
any. He
card
hasn't got
anymore.
any character cards.
Yeah, he doesn't have any character
Well,
cards, and
that was
apparently
very good for
he
him
doesn't
that
have strategy cards that help.
he didn't get hit back at least, which is pretty
Yeah.
huge.
And it's just such a slow slog if you were attacking
Yeah.
without cards and without elites.
But I feel like there's certainly a world. I think previously it was looking like Erebor was going to need reinforcements to take it down, but now it looks like it's probably 50-50.
It might be enough. The question is how many dice will it cost you?
Yep.
And I'm wondering what are the 2 strategy cards that he has in hand that he is refusing to play them in combat.
Yeah, because
if it was like an onslaught, like yeah, fighting Urukai might be a card that you cannot play effectively here.
yeah, good point.
But you could still play it to cycle. Corsairs of Amba you would not play for sure, but I think if you had Corsairs, I would play it over attacking into Erebor without leadership or a card that I want to play. I think I'd rather play Corsairs then.
So, in the chat, they're discussing where the mouth would be placed with the final die.
Probably into Dol Guldur, I would say.
So you can give it flexibility to go either to Woodland Realm or to Lorien, I guess.
Yeah, the only other consideration would be Minas Mogul, I think, and then maybe send him to Umbar, but that does not seem necessary. Yeah, I think you place him in Dol Guldur. That makes the most sense to me. And given that you're attacking Erebor first, I would probably send him to Lorien, because there's a real chance that Gandalf shows up in Lorien.
Mm-hmm.
While there's not a very good chance of him to show up in Woodland Realm. And even if he does, Woodland Realm is much easier to take. Only 4 hit points versus 8 from Lorien.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would want Mouth of Sauron to be in Lorien.
100%. I wonder what CircleDakkon is agonizing over. I guess he's got a full hand.
Yeah. And you don't really need the scouts anymore, probably.
Yeah, exactly. And at least that...
So it's unlikely that...
does protect a victory point somewhat.
I'll be right back.
Okay, here comes the mouth. Yeah, I agree, Strider. I think Athelas is going to be huge for the free people, unless he does get a Jorik roll.
All right, I'm back.
The classic 1-1-1-1-2-1 on Athelas.
What? 1-1-1-2-1 on
Oh, we're
Athelas?
just discussing how Athelas could be
Ah,
crucial unless you get
yeah.
a Joric roll, and
I
you
mean,
get like an absolutely
Seattle.
horrendous
I'm
roll.
I'm I'm certainly looking forward to Candles of Corpses. That's, I think, the most desperately sought after card right now.
Yeah, and Candles of Corpses and an Athelas whiff is kind of what the Shadow is
Well, that's
dreaming
super
of right now.
unlikely.
Not going to happen, but that's
If
kind of.
Strider is still guiding, then it's very unlikely. But yeah, 4 eyes now that you have 5 eyes in the pool, that makes a lot of sense. And
Ooh, a
yeah,
lot
that's
of
a very
moves.
good rule for the 3 people.
Yep, but that is a lot of moves potentially into a lot of eyes. I would probably
Oh,
use a
but you
lot of
have a lot of
those.
character cards
I was
that you
going to
want to play.
say,
I think
yeah,
you only move once per turn as 3 people.
yeah. I think it's really handy. This is the turn where he can play Mithril, he can play Athelas, he can play File.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And then you make that one move, and then you hide.
yeah,
Maybe you don't even hide, but yeah, I think you do hide.
I think because he's also got the Palantir, he can use one of the seeds to hide. I guess. Well, it
Yeah,
depends what happens to Aragorn, I guess, or Strider even.
yeah. I think I would play Athelas first, because if something like Foul Thing happens,
Mm-hmm.
I mean that would also be one very massive swing if Foul Thing
Yeah,
just kills Aragorn.
I was thinking that. Yeah, Foul Thing would be huge right now.
And it's why I would play Athelas first, I think. Playing File allows for Foul Thing to hit File, but
Yeah, I think
yeah,
at this point, just play. There's a chance, obviously, that the Shadow immediately throws in a red tile if you play Athelas, but I think you've just got to accept it
yeah.
and just use this turn
But
to
the
just
risk is
play
that
all
you
of your
might run
cards. You know?
into another red tile, and Shadow only has that one character card in hand. So I
Yeah,
think I'd rather play my 3 cards before I take the move than
100%.
move now to stop that one card that Shadow has,
And Mithril gives you insurance against
which
that
might
card
not actually
anyway.
be a red tile.
Yeah. Yeah, when you've got a blue tile in hand and you've got Mithril anyway, like I'm not even that upset if the Shadow puts in a red tile.
Yeah. And I 100% want to play Athelas before I move.
Yep, 100%. So I can only imagine he's trying to decide which card to play first.
Athelas, in my opinion. Because I'd be so afraid of a Foul Thing.
Yeah, I feel
Or
like
even Orc Patrol at this point. I mean, if it's Orc Patrol into 3, you can't just take 3. You'd have to random, and that's a 25% chance to kill Strider.
this is a game.
I don't think I'd use the will. I think I would be happy this turn for the will to be
Day Without
taken
Dawn.
by Day Without Dawn.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think if they're willing to use one of their Palantirs to play to kill your one will in this turn, I'm
Use
happy
it
with
the
that.
army or the Master Die too, because you have Mouth of Sauron. But yeah, I think I'm happy trading 1-for-1 in a card in this turn, because I wouldn't want to move more than once.
I agree. So he's doing exactly
He
what you
does
described.
use the will first. Okay, interesting. And, oh wow, it's only 1.
Okay,
That's
well
not a
that
lot.
was the whiff that we were saying could happen.
It's not a complete whiff,
But it's
and that one corruption might be enough.
But I feel like, if
I mean,
a good candles now is really powerful.
but he only has 1 card, Franatleti.
And he
Just
does.
that one
There's still
single
16
card.
left in the deck. He's very unlikely
Yeah.
to actually have candles, unfortunately, for him.
And he doesn't play any card, so the one he has isn't useful right now. But he's not cycling a character card. Okay, so that means he must have found something. Deadly. Oh no, Desperate Battle. Okay.
Solid.
Oh no.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
God. Oh, this is painful, man.
And 3 hits back.
3 hits back. Okay,
Yeah,
well, so much for that being, back on the table.
Oh no.
Yeah, this game is. If it wasn't already, if it was like 90%, 95% corruption, now it's like 100% corruption.
It's never 100%. You can, like, if you have something like Shadow Lengthens, you can move Woodland Realm into Erebor, and then but it's a corruption game.
Yeah, you'd need some kind of mad combination of Shadow Lengthens, Corsairs of Umbar, Black Captain commands,
and combat now suddenly swinging your way when it hasn't
exactly,
done so before.
yeah, rolling 6s like nobody's business.
I mean, still Shadow is on 0 victory points. So, and none of the strongholds are super easy. I mean, Woodland Realm 4 hit points, okay, that's doable. But we see he has Thranduil's Archers in hand. So
Oh,
it's
now he's
actually
got
60 points.
Thranduils as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Here comes the file.
Yeah. And then Mithril
Yeah.
Coat next, and then you take that one move.
Every single character card is like another dagger to Franatleti's heart right now. It's just seeing this murderer's row of character cards getting played one after the other.
I'm surprised that he hasn't used the Palantir to draw a character card. I feel like,
well, just to see what he can
given
get.
that corruption is the most important thing right now, I would be very inclined to draw more character cards. The only exception would have been if I had a character card that is not useful against the Fellowship, then I would have used it in combat in Erebor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then, yeah, maybe he... No, he doesn't have Balrog, I don't think. Otherwise, he would have put the Witch King in Lorien. Because at this point, it's not about winning Lorien. Lorien is good in the sense that you get to attack it often and cycle character cards.
I'll just be back in 1 minute.
Alright. Yeah, I think I would have been more inclined to draw a card and then maybe use the character dice to play the character cards. Because ideally you'd find another red tile before the Fellowship moves.
Right. Oh boy.
Okay, so he does redecide and actually play the Palantir first.
Oh, interesting. Okay. To do exactly what you
described. Draw a character card,
Yeah, I think that's wise.
And I think he should have done that before he attacked Erebor. So if he draws a shitty card, he could have used it in combat.
Yeah, like a Worm Tongue or something.
Yeah. I mean, I can see why you would play Desperate Battle, but do you really think you can outrun the Fellowship at this point? I don't think so.
I think it would be, as we've said before, like absolutely remarkable.
But yeah, Corruption doesn't look that promising either.
Nope.
Depends so much on what this next tile is.
Yeah, I think
if it's an eye, then it's definitely game on for the Shadow. At
Yeah.
that point, I mean, if 3 people runs into an eye, goes up to 9 Corruption, then yes, Shadow, I think, might be favored in the Corruption game. Especially knowing that Bilbo's Song's gone.
And if you draw an eye, you're in a real tricky situation as to whether you use Mithril or not, when there's still 3 eyes left in there and another red tile.
I think you would use it, because eyes get less dangerous as time goes on.
Mm-hmm.
You really want to dodge that first eye, because then you can random a companion and suddenly all the eyes in the future do less damage.
I think that's probably...
but you risk, if it's a normal eye, that you run into the red eye, and that would seriously hurt CircleDakkon's chances.
Yeah, Franatleti says nice cards, indeed. He has,
and he doesn't even know about Bilbo's Song being this card.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Ringwraiths are abroad. Interesting. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. But then what's the other character card?
Okay,
if you're using Ringwraith, then do you have another character card that you are happy to cycle? Because if not, I probably wouldn't have played it and instead just cycled it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I still don't think Shadow wins this.
The only problem was the Witch King previously in Erebor, though, because if you cycle, then the Witch King dies.
No, you would use a character side to reposition your leaders.
I see what you mean.
With
yeah.
Must Die using Mother Sauron's ability, cycling Words of Power to draw something that can actually hurt the Fellowship.
So he might be able to take Woodland Realm down in one go.
Yeah, and he's playing a strategy card now, so I think that's a slight inaccuracy, because I don't think you win a military victory here. So I wouldn't be concerned about cycling strategy cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm Free People, I'm happy that Shadow isn't cycling character cards here.
How much of an onslaught are we going to get? Probably the big four, I imagine.
I would assume so. I mean, Franatleti does not seem to be all that interested in cycling characters. Oh my god. Yeah, I was about to
Java.
say, like, the good thing about the big army in Woodland Realm is that it's a free cycle machine for your Witch King.
Yep.
So,
And that's
like,
probably
one of the
what you want to
problems in these type
prioritize,
of
isn't it?
situations is that sometimes you don't have a target to attack, and then you cannot cycle, and that can be very bad.
Yeah, that's true. You want to have a big army that you can happily
That you can throw
use
at the
to
Free People without risking
cycle. Yeah.
the Witch King. You don't want to lose the Witch King, but you want to cycle every round. Yeah, I think. Well, I certainly would have played it different. Doesn't mean my style of play would have been better. After all, I'm not in the final. Franatleti is. But I really like those corruption games, and I think when you make the switch to a corruption game, you probably have to dedicate everything to it.
Yeah, when I've lost games similar to this as Free People, it's often because the Shadow has done what you're describing and has just committed everything to using the Witch King's cycling ability to just endlessly cycle character cards in every battle.
Yeah, that's what I would have done. Sure. And this is one of the rare situations where Ring Race are abroad, as powerful as it is, just becomes cycling material because it doesn't do anything to the Fellowship, so it's not a good card anymore. The only reason you would play Ring Race is if you had another card to cycle.
So you were efficiently getting into a position to cycle the second card.
Yeah, exactly. Like if your Nazgul were out of position and you had another card to cycle and only a Palantir, then yeah, maybe you would play a Ring
This
Race.
could be the defining move of the game. It's an
eye.
It's an eye. Okay.
That's very good for Shadow.
Okay.
Do you Mithril here?
This is huge.
I think you do not.
Oh, God.
You'd hate to use Mithril up on the first
You
move.
have
If it was a red eye, you'd 100% Mithril it, but a normal eye, I think you have to take here.
But that is painful, man.
That's really painful.
That's hugely painful.
You go up to 9 corruption. I would throw Strider into it because now that Athelas is gone, this is maybe the last chance to efficiently lose Strider. Yeah, it hurts.
I feel
maybe
like
you use Mithril. I mean, if you use Mithril and it's like a 3, then you'd be so happy.
Because there are some bad tiles in there. There's 4 terrible tiles in there.
There's 4 terrible tiles, and 1 tile that's even more terrible than the one you currently have. And there's 4 more moves you have to take.
But there are also like 6 really nice tiles.
Yeah. Yeah, he takes
he's taken it. He's taken it.
I think that's correct.
Yeah. Josh Davis has repeated throughout the chat that Mordor is punishing, and he's absolutely right. Mordor is punishing.
Mordor can be very cruel.
And Strider's point out that you are the champion of both versions of War of the Ring, the card game and the.
Well, I'm not a champion anymore in the board game. It's been 2 years now, yeah.
So you were the champion in 2022.
Yeah.
Who did you play in the final again?
Rexuv.
Rexuv.
Or Rex WV. Yeah, but that was a very one-sided
Morgul Wound as well. Oh my god.
Morgul Wound. Oh, that's brutal.
This game is.
Yeah, Rex always gets bad luck against me. And also got bad luck against me in the final.
Yeah, but Big Candles would win it.
Candles definitely is my #1 concern right now is the Free People. I mean, corruption is still sort of okay. You're on effective 5 corruption, but you'd have to get to Golem efficiently for that to matter. Yeah. And now Shadow can allocate maximum eyes every round.
I guess eyes only do 3 right now.
Well, at least 3. They could do 4. It's very likely that he rolls 1 eye.
Oh yeah, very good point. And he does indeed roll 1.
They do 4 damage, and so eyes are lethal right now.
Lethal. Oh my god. Okay, this game has swung big
But
time.
yeah, what you can do as 3 people is you don't move. You can just hide, draw character cards, hope for blue tiles, and play them. The problem is that Shadow can cycle character cards more efficiently than you can. Though, that said, Shadow does not have a Palantir, so they can't draw.
I
And
mean,
depending on the one card they have in hand, if it's something that they cannot cycle,
I think I would still be inclined to move with Mithril in hand rather than.
there's Dreadful Spells, for example. Dreadful Spells would be an awful card to have in hand right now as Shadow, because it has a Devilry of Orthing, and you don't have a Isengard
You
unit.
can't play it.
So you
Yeah.
can fix it. You can fix it by sending the Orthing army to Helm's Deep, but that also risks exposing Saruman.
Well, this game has got interesting.
Yeah, that eye was IA plus Mogul Wound. That was definitely big.
Really big.
And now, yeah, it's so painful to know as 3 people that you will never be seeing Bilbo's Song this game.
Yeah, that's so true. He needs to get maximum value out of Mithril and some good tile draws now.
And honestly, if I had, I mean, obviously, first thing I do is hide, I think, even if I did have Bilbo's Song in hand. But I would be inclined to play it here because I'd be very afraid of Candles of Corpses.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I think with that eye, Shadow might actually be favored now.
It feels like it to me. It feels like it to me.
But you have to like consider that the odds of finding an eye wasn't that high. I mean, there were 13 tiles and 5 eyes, so it was more than 50% chance of not being an eye. And then Fellowship would have been in a very good position.
Which is why, I mean, it's easy for me to say, but I might have gambled on the Mithril. I don't know. Just because a 5-eye at that point, you're never going to hit a tile unless the Shadow rolls a miraculous number of eyes. You're never going to eat that much corruption.
Yeah, that is true.
In any
there was
move
some
in
merit
future.
to using Mithril. It just sucks to use Mithril on the first move. But yeah, that was definitely considerations, I think, to use Mithril on that move.
As a gambler, as a degenerate gambler, I think I would have played Mithril.
Yeah, I mean, you would have had an 8 out of 12 chance.
That's it. I'm taking that 66% chance,
yeah,
baby.
66% chance.
Right in that train to losing the championship match.
You might find a 0 reveal, which you might be happy about, but then you see 5 eyes again next round.
True.
And you have the same problem. Though I guess then you have more than 50% chance again of dodging the eyes. So yeah.
I suppose because you're not going to kill any, you're not going to shrink your Fellowship at all, are you? You'd almost be in a position then where, like, I think Strider mentioned it, where you could actually, it might be in your benefit to actually remove guys from the Fellowship using there and back again and just like slim out the Fellowship.
Yeah. But you don't want to lose guys from the Fellowship here because the corruption is like the effective corruption is also pretty high now.
Yeah, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, to be honest.
Yeah. Now you don't want to separate them anymore.
Okay, so cycling cards and Dale by the looks of it.
Yep, cycling strategy. Character cards is the most
safe.
important thing he can do.
Safer to attack Dale than Woodland Realm, certainly.
Absolutely. And this is the situation I meant, right? You don't want to attack Woodland Realm because if that battle goes poorly, you lose the Witch King. And that's one of the reasons why I would have... Well, okay, if you had Dread and Despair, then less likely to go this terrible, but... interesting. So
Dale's going
maybe
walkabout.
Some military shenanigans.
Yeah. Although lots of musters, well, hybrids for the Shadow.
Interesting. So
I think people are rooting for Franatleti here, so we get a game 3.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see why. And also the game 1 was very unlucky, I think, for Franatleti.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then if you think back on how this game started, it didn't look very good for the Shadow. But also something to consider is, if you think back all the way to round 1 and round 2, CircleDakkon played it exactly right. Playing Wizard Staff, not killing Gandalf.
Yeah, absolutely.
Imagine how much more screwed he would have been if he hadn't done those decisions. Though then again, I guess without Wizard Staff, the Fellowship would have been less healthy with less companions, so the ice would have been less threatening now.
Very true.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of
Maybe it wouldn't actually have been worse for him.
So yeah, so that means that Shadow has finally got its first victory point on like turn.
Yeah, what is it? Turn 8 or something?
Must be something like that. It feels like about turn 8.
Maybe it's turn 7. I don't know. We can't see right now, and I haven't counted the turns.
I think any game
Maybe
where you don't get your first victory point in like the first 5 turns always hurts for Shadow.
Yeah. I mean, certainly when Fellowship declares in Mordor and you're still on 0 victory points.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And the strongholds that you are besieging for the most part are not easy, then you're gonna have problems. Like I said, I would have played this more aggressively as Shadow in terms of the corruption strategy. But other than that, yeah, I think Franatleti has done a very good job. And even like I'm not even saying that it's a mistake the way he plays it, but just that I would have played it differently.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Decisions.
I mean, yeah, I think you use the will to draw a card, and I think I'd rather do it now than later. Because you might find, I mean, you still have Boromir and Gimli, so you might find.
Oh yeah, that's a very good point. Axe and bow would be big here.
Kondo.
Yeah.
Oh, he moves.
Oh,
wow,
here we go.
Have done that.
Here we go. Here we go.
He might just be dead.
Oh my god. What he's still got. Okay.
That's the reveal.
Good
okay,
tile.
That's good.
Good
that's
tile.
very good.
Although I would have preferred like a 1 or a 2 so I could at least kill one of these captures of the West.
2 would have been perfect.
But, you know, I'm not complaining if I'm CircleDakkon right there.
Nope. Definitely not. And we know Mogul Wound has been played and Breaking of the Fellowship has been played.
So is it Lure's the only one left?
Is Lure of the Ring. Which you would be okay with. Yeah, if I had Lure of the Ring as Shadow here, I wouldn't play it. I think I'd hold on to it, maybe. Because if you play it, you also remove companions, so you can allocate less eyes.
Yeah, I think I would save it until it down to Golem, ideally.
Yeah, but you might not get to that point.
That's true. That is true. You might not be able to play it again. But I just feel like adding extra eyes has more value than playing Lure right now. Just having the extra eyes in the pool, so eyes are more dangerous to the free people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was thinking of Lure, is the one benefit is the fact that it can do that one free corruption when they're down to Golem, but
it's the only card that can do that reliably.
Exactly. Yeah.
That he still has in his deck. Everything else is more of a gamble. I mean, Orc Patrol or Foul Thing certainly can do a lot of damage, but there's a lot of ice, and yeah, if you play Orc Patrol or
what are you trying to hit if you play that? I mean, that's the thing.
Not an eye. Everything else is fine. But if you hit an eye, and especially if you hit the red eye.
But even then, say you play Orc Patrol, you hit like a 2, you're just meaning there's less eyes next turn.
Yeah, but at least you also deal 2 damage.
Yeah.
That would be okay.
But I feel
like you increase the chance of hitting an eye next round.
But I think like eyes are so valuable right now because they have the possibility to push the actual corruption higher. You know, there's no Shelob, so the fewer eyes in the pool, the less chance of you actually doing more than 2 damage with a tile, which is what he really needs to do. So actually having 3 companions is a huge benefit to Franatleti right now. 2 companions is actually significantly weaker if the Shadow it doesn't roll any eyes.
Especially if the Hobbit survives the next round. Yeah, there's not going to be another random, I don't think.
Okay, cycling Wormtongue as discussed earlier.
Oh, there's no more Hobbit left. Oh, there's Legolas, Boromir, and Gimli. I thought there was a Hobbit in there.
No cheeky Hobbit.
So effective corruption is 4. That's not bad.
Strider says he needs to cycle for candles. Yep, absolutely right. Praying for candles right now.
Candles is the biggest thing. Yeah, that Woodland Realm army is very strong.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you're in a position where if you attack again, you might actually lose the Witch King.
Potentially.
If there's like confusion and you do 2 hits to yourself. Or if you take 5 hits and then 3 people sortie out of it.
Yeah, you kind of almost want to, if it's possible and not too expensive, like just move the Witch King somewhere else to continue your cycling.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But Lorien also is kind of threatening, so...
I think Lorien's the next best choice. I think there's not really another viable option.
You might draw into the Balrog, and then you can't cycle him unless you have the Witch King in Lorien. One thing you can do, but that's also costing you a lot of dice, is move to Pelagia with the South runs, then attack Osgiliath, then Minas Tirith or something.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. That's kind of probably the best backup option to Lorien.
You'd have some guaranteed attacks, though. Putting Minas Tirith under siege is not a real attack because you don't get to play a combat card, so that's bad. So yeah, Lorien is probably the best place to cycle cards now.
Yeah, and the Fat Hobbit says One Restore on Tour is not completely bad here. Yeah, it still has value at this point.
It still has value, yeah, because you have Mithril Code on the table.
Of course, yeah, especially powerful because of Mithril. Yeah.
Instead of cycling, dreadful spells. This sucks. But yeah, again, I would have played this differently.
Maybe he wants to weaken Wooden Realm enough so he feels comfortable attacking it to cycle. Oh, he hasn't got any more character cards.
Yeah, but it's a character card that you could cycle.
But he hasn't got any more.
You have an army in Orthanc that you can activate and then cycle it. You're down to 0 character cards.
He could have moved the Witch King to Orthanc, attacked Fords of Eisen.
Well, you couldn't have played it in Fords of Eisen. You can only play it in a...
Oh, it has to be used in a... Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 people draw the character card. Makes perfect sense. They can discard Brave Stand, probably, to use this card for this situation.
Let's see what he draws.
Oh, he drew an end card.
I mean, sorry, next turn.
Yeah.
That's probably a lot of useless cards for the 3 people at this stage.
Yeah, there's a lot of useless cards. I mean, you still have 3 blue tiles, and there's another way. I think those... Oh, and you also have Axe and Bow and Horn of Gondor. So you have 6 good cards left. It's almost 50%.
Okay.
Another Mustering into Ruin.
Let's see what we get. There is another way.
There's another way. Okay.
Interesting.
That's very good.
That was...
And I think because time is not an issue, I would play it to get the healing.
Protects you from candles, potentially.
Yeah. Well, candles are still a threat because if he
gets
rolls
the 3
hits, you still die. But
improves your odds significantly of surviving candles, I would say.
Exactly. Yeah, and now 3 people, I think, are, again, in the advantage with that. There is another way. Only 3 more moves to go. Mithril Code and Sting still there.
So
Leon effective for Corruption.
The Fat Hobbit says, without knowing Shadow's hand, I would say that 50% of the mating Shadow deck is nice. Yeah, that's very true. There's a lot of very powerful cards left in the
but some of them are very swingy, right? Foul Thing might hit an eye, and Orc Patrol might hit an eye. But you also have 2 more red tiles to find, and Candles of Corpses. And Lure of the Ring. So you have 4 guaranteed good cards.
There's also
2 swingy cards. Yeah, I think I discard there and back again if I'm 3 people.
Yeah, I agree.
And confusion he now has in hand.
Just looking at
So
one of the end
that's
cards.
potentially big.
Looks like he's weighing up between the end cards to me.
Yeah, I mean, End's Rage is not a very good card. That's true. But Brave Stand, I mean, is that gonna be better than an end card?
Oh,
Probably not.
Lidless Eye, actually, that's a good point. Someone suggested. Good
Lidless
position.
Eye, right. Though I think I'd rather cycle it. Yeah, maybe not.
It could be one to hold on to till the end, you know.
I don't think you're in a position where you can hold on to your cards. You have to either cycle them to find better cards or use them now.
Actually, I suppose Lidless Eye has a lot more value when you're pressuring military victory and you're forcing the free people to rush.
Yeah.
Without the military
exactly.
pressure, Lidless Eye is a lot weaker, unfortunately, for the free people. Sorry for the shadow.
Well, that depends on if the free people have to move or take a corruption this turn. Oh, wow, 6 eyes.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, CircleDakkon was dead to an eye last turn anyways, and he still moved. So that hasn't changed. He dies if he hits an eye, and he has Mithril to get him out of jail once.
Yeah, it's just it doesn't give you any wiggle room, does it? I mean, at least if it's three eyes, you can survive.
Because Day Without Dawn is now a really big
threat. Oh, file! Oh, baby.
That should win the game then.
That is huge. That is huge.
And then you can also, well, maybe now you hold on to there is another way.
Oh,
oof, that's rough.
That is a huge swing. It's been a very swingy Mordor.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
And he uses the Palantir to play it. Interesting.
I think I would have used an army die to play Molokai in this situation.
I mean, I still give Shadow a less than 1% chance to win a military victory this game.
Yeah.
So the only reason you want to play Olokai is so that the Witch King can keep attacking with that army. But drawing a character card is better than...
Yeah, I mean, you're just hunting for candles, really.
Drawing a strategy card to enable you drawing more character cards. Or cycling more character cards. He still only has that one character card in hand anyways.
Which could be unplayable, potentially.
Yeah, which might not hurt the Fellowship. And it might be Balrog, which would not even be an easy cycle this round.
That'd be very awkward, actually, yeah, because you'd have to move the Witch King to Lorien just to play it.
Yeah. I mean, I still think Lorien is a good place to attack into. Because you have 13 hit points, so you're reasonably safe. For a while.
So, Ituraldi says, do you threaten taking Dol Guldur and Morannon as free? That could be a way of wasting some of their dice. Dice that he could be using to cycle.
Yeah, that's a good point. You don't have a Master's Shadow, so that's definitely something you can threaten. But I think after seeing File, you are less worried about the corruption victory for the Shadow.
Okay, mustering in Carrick.
Yeah.
Tasty.
Alright, let's see if he cycles
not a single muster, so he's guaranteed to be able to take Dol Guldur this turn.
Yeah, and he needs to keep an army die. Otherwise he risks... I mean... well, yeah, he needs to keep an army die for last. Otherwise he can take both Moria and Dol Guldur this round.
Yeah.
And there's a confusion hitting himself. Yeah, this is very awkward as Shadow. And I think you do threaten the military victory as free people.
You have to, I think. I think it's the most... Oh, pressing, okay. I think I'd rather keep that for cycling next turn.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like I said, you don't really have a way to win the military game here.
And then if you don't roll any characters next turn, you can't cycle next turn. Because you can't move the Nazgul.
Yeah, then you're kind of screwed anyways. If you don't roll Palantirs and or character dice, then you have problems.
Alright. Okay, that's the end of the Woodland Realm.
Yeah.
A stronghold has fallen on turn 6,000.
But it doesn't really matter, I don't think.
No,
Erebor is
I
hard
agree.
to take. And especially with the Carrack Muster, you cannot keep the dual line unless you muster up a lot more.
Yeah, I think
Lorien is very tough.
I think just wasting their dice threatening Dol Guldur and Moria
Absolutely. I mean,
seems to be
if
the
you
way
can
to
stop
go.
the cycling, then you've done your job as 3 people.
And just getting a free 2 points is, it does give you another genuine avenue to victory.
Yeah.
I can't remember what was the onslaught that was played. Was it Orcs multiplying again?
I think it was. It might have been the Fighting Uruk-hai. I don't know. I don't remember.
I think you're right. I think it was the Fighting Uruk-hai. But if Gundabad could, if he doesn't roll any more musters, that could be a target as well.
I mean, yeah, that might be a target.
Would need quite extraordinary dice, but it's possible. But having said that, there's pretty pits of Mordor out there as well. I can't remember if that was...
Yeah, but you have a lot of strongholds that you need to defend. And it's costing you so much time, potentially. And also, he can just pressure Moria and Dol Guldur by using the Northmen and keeping the elves in Rivendell. Which is nice, because then you don't leave yourself vulnerable. And then, yeah, you force Shadow to save the army die. Or use it to defend Moria and Morannon.
So where's the
what's the second move?
move
I think I would move Bree to South Downs.
Yeah, that's safer than the Rivendell play. You're not really expecting it to actually work. You're just wasting his time.
Yeah. And that gets the job done just as well. And I think you still take Dol Guldur.
I think you 100% take Dol Guldur. I would definitely do that.
Yeah. I think so too. I mean, what else are you going to do?
There's no downside to that play. It's just pure upside.
Yeah.
Looking at the North Downs guy, is he considering it a pincer on Mount Gundabad?
That looks...
That's interesting. Maybe he knows. Maybe he knows that Moria isn't actually takeable, so he's thinking the long game. What is an actual stronghold I could feasibly actually take down?
That play though means that there's no immediate threat for a military victory.
Yeah, that's true.
You're giving the Shadow.
Well, what he can do is put Gundabad under siege so it can't be mustered, and then bring reinforcements from Carrack.
Yeah, he could do that.
Because otherwise, all it would take is the Shadow to roll a bunch of musters next turn, and then everything is a write-off. You have no target whatsoever. At least this way means the Shadow is relying on using Palantirs or musters to play.
But then you should have moved the Carrack army, I think. But then you can't muster in there anymore.
Yeah, exactly. That's his muster point.
Yeah. Maybe.
That's what I think he's thinking.
I think you can just use the character die to reposition unless you have a very good character card in hand now.
The problem is that, like, if auto multiplying again is still out there, then this plan is pretty much doomed, regardless.
I mean, I think you have faith that you can dunk the ring from this position.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, that is, like, definitely plan A.
There's a world where you don't.
Yeah.
But it's very likely that you can. Shadow needs to find candles. Candles needs to actually do something. Mithril needs to whiff. And there's only one red tile in the pool right now.
So one
I
idea
think.
that's being suggested, I think it was by Strider in the chat, was separating all companions except one to basically
Yeah.
mean that eyes are less dangerous in future, I presume.
I think I
and then also get close to
would
golems,
I
so then that
separate
means there is
more
another
than
way.
one
It's more value.
companion though. I think I'd only separate one probably.
I suppose separating just one gives you more of a buffer.
Yeah. And I think you're more worried about the buffering than
because there's a
about the
chance that,
time.
like, obviously you're worried about well, you're worried about eyes, but then you could just get killed by normal like corruption potentially. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. Fellowship is fairly healthy though. I mean, they are down to 2 corruption effectively.
Yeah, that's pretty mad actually. And that Mithril's looking stronger and stronger.
Yeah, now we're getting to the final 2 steps. So like I said, I agree with not using it on the first step, even though it looked very scary. Oh, actually playing there is then back again.
So this is what was being suggested. So the question
but
is,
you
does
don't
he
actually need to play a card
yeah,
to
so
do
he's doing
that.
exactly what Strider suggested. Yeah, so he's removing.
But why is he also
all but
playing
one.
a card for that?
Um,
He could have just kept the card in hand.
oh yeah,
You can do that with a normal action.
he's just doing it for style points.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you're never going to play Brave Stand in combat, probably. It doesn't really matter anyways. Yeah, separating 2 companions protects you from Candles of Corpses somewhat, because it's very likely that you'll lose your final companion on the next move.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, that's probably what
I
the
think
thinking
you're
was.
basically guaranteed. I think both zeros are gone, and so is the blue tile. What might happen though is that you roll no movement.
Oh yeah. Dun, dun, dun,
And we've seen that happen to Franatleti twice.
I'll be curious to see the pool now. I feel like
there's
the
4
one
eyes in there. There's a red tile,
only
and
one
I
red
think there's a
tile.
bunch of 1s and 3s left in the pool.
I feel like
And 1-2 I think is also still in there.
the one real downside of the play he just did, while there's a lot of upside to it, the downside is if you do get some really unfortunate play, like say a red eye into a red tile into Mithril into an eye or something like that, then suddenly your HP is low for the final move. But with There Is Another Way, probably got enough protection there anyway.
Probably, yeah.
Apparently, there's an achievement for playing Horn of Gondor, winning the game with Horn of Gondor on the table. So that could be a possibility.
Okay.
Although that's not possible anymore, I guess. It'd have to be
No, he
axe and
separated
bow.
for him, yeah, endgamely. But that was one reason for maybe keeping 2 companions, then both Horn of Gondor and
they would both still be
helpful.
eligible cards, yeah.
Yeah. Now you're gambling on one of them.
Or maybe he's holding X. Well, no, we know what cards he's got.
No, we know what. Yeah, we don't know what the Shadow has, but we
Yeah.
can see that he doesn't have it in hand right now. Yeah, protect Helm's Deep. Not like it matters. It's basically impossible for the Shadow to win.
I think I would put. Okay. What would the two?
I mean, he's not really playing for a military victory, and I don't think he should. I mean, the corruption victory is unlikely for the Shadow at this point, I think.
Okay, Danes. That's, well, a bit redundant now, but
it's nice, but yeah, probably doesn't make a difference. And 3 eyes rolled, that's good for the Shadow.
Yep.
And a perfect roll for 3 people, nice.
All right, how's he going to do this?
Yeah, he has a lot of options, but yeah, I guess the straight move makes the most sense.
It's an eye.
That's
okay.
Good. But I think you can take it. That's fine.
And now he plays Candles for Corpses. Does he need 3 6s, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's extremely unlikely.
I've seen someone roll 2 6s on that a couple of times.
I have seen someone roll 3 6s.
Oh, number of the beast.
I was a German player too.
was
And it was
that
in the
against
tournament.
you?
No, it wasn't against me.
Okay.
But I think it was in the tournament.
Oh God, losing to that would be horrific.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, he's lined up
So
the
what do you
character
see
die
now?
ominously. Oh, what could it be? Orb Patrol. Okay.
Oh, oh yeah, that's good. You
Yeah,
want to play
that's
it
solid.
on Gollum when he's revealed?
It's an
No, it's not.
eye. Could this
But
be
like that's also one of the fun things.
championship?
Yeah, there's 2 3s in there. Those would have been amazing. And now there's only 2 eyes left in
Oh,
that's,
3 would
that's
have
really
been
bad.
huge there. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
And that's one of the fun things with Gollum. Like, usually you have in mind that you want to play these tile drawing cards while the Fellowship is not revealed, so you can reveal them. But against Gollum, it works in the opposite way.
Mm-hmm.
If you play them while the Fellowship is not revealed and Gollum is guiding, then you give Gollum the chance to hide to soften the blow.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
when Gollum is guide, you prefer to play those
When
the Fellowship is
when the Fellowship is
revealed.
actually already revealed, because then they can't.
So you negate the Gollum ability.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so a 3 would have actually been GG right there, wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
3 would have been GG.
Holy crap.
But because of Mythal Code, he could have always Mythal Code.
So let's have a look at that pool then. Okay, so there's a lot of nice
Yeah,
tiles
the pool,
there.
I mean, even a 1 or a 2 would have been great. So
right,
yeah, there's
so,
no 0. There's 3 1s, 1
I
2,
mean,
2 3s, and some eyes.
For that next move, I think the only way that well, especially if he plays There Is Another Way, he needs the red tile into an eye.
He needs
eye
into eye.
Eye into eye. It's the only way. Otherwise, it's over.
And he needs to roll enough eyes next turn for
this
eye
is
into eye to be lethal.
huge.
Or he needs to play another red tile this round. Because I don't think as 3 people you move again this round. That would be suicide.
But at the same time, if you do move again this round, you are still a huge favourite to win the game. If you wait till next turn,
yes,
there is a chance that the Shadow can cycle into Candles, in which case it does narrow the odds a lot more. Oh, but having said that, no, you're right. Candles is way less of a threat, but it's still kind of like, I suppose, Foul Thing is the other Hail Mary. Oh, just speak of the devil.
Okay,
Foul Thing.
Thing.
Oh my god,
no.
This is insane.
Now you actually move. Now it's GG.
Yeah, that's it.
Now you move, and if it's an eye, you Mithril and you win the game.
Can't
and
believe,
if it's not an eye,
I can't believe both eyes. Oh, that's cruel.
Yeah, that's so unlucky.
That's real tough luck for Franatleti. He's not had the luck of the draw in this final.
But I mean, even a 1 wouldn't have made a difference. So you really needed to hit a 3 or a 2 with either of those tiles for it to matter.
Ugh. Painful.
Yeah, that's tough. Now you just move and it's GG.
Yeah. Oh, he's thinking about it. Oh, he's going to use a Panzer for it. Fair enough.
I mean, sure, why not?
Once again for the style points. Yeah, he says I think it's GG in the chat.
It is 100% GG.
Yep, it's over. Damn.
The only bad tile he can Mithril, and then
hitting both eyes on Orc Patrol and Foul Thing. Oh,
I mean, the pool wasn't very good for the Shadow.
And with that, we have a new. Well, we have an.
No, we don't have a new champion. We actually have an old champion. Yeah.
He's
CircleDakkon actually defends his crown. Wow, that's so impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see a list of all the previous champions. Has it been retained before at some point?
I believe so. We can look in the Discord. There's a channel, tournament winners or something.
Which shows
so
all
we
the
can
records.
just quickly look it up. I believe Peter M and Saved by Him may possibly have done it, and also Magic Geek, past tournament winners. So
yeah, huge congratulations to CircleDakkon.
Yeah, congratulations to CircleDakkon, who played 2 extremely good games in the finals, and probably a lot more very good games in the lead up.
And commiserations to Franatleti, who I think played very well, but just had a lot of very bad luck.
Yeah, he was definitely unlucky. Certainly in game 1, I think also in game 2, but to a lesser degree.
I think game 2, the fact that it feels like both games were real Java games, if you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, yeah.
There are games where skill has less of a factor, and these were both.
I think actually that he's the first one to defend his title
ever.
I think so. So I'm looking back to 2007, 8, and 9.
That's incredible. We have War of the Ring history being made before our eyes.
Yeah. Magic Geek won it several times, but not back to back. Peter M won it twice, but not back to back. Saved by Him won it twice, but not back to back.
And incredibly, he's only played 141 games.
Oh, actually, no, that's, yeah, okay. Saved by Him won 2 tournaments back to back, but one was the base game and one was the Loam tournament.
One was Loam, okay. Which is still incredibly impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think this has never happened before. Yeah, and I think he played extremely well. Also got some luck, sure, but I mean,
I'm trying to think.
I'm sure he had some tournament games in the lead up to this where he got unlucky. I mean, we all know Java. Java gives and Java takes away.
Yeah, Java's a capricious mistress.
Yeah. Yeah, and Franatleti also played very well. I think the corruption game could have been more determined maybe, but that would have shut the door even more on the military attempt. And regardless, it probably wouldn't have made a difference.
Yeah, and in the end, Franatleti, regardless, did have some potentially pivotal cards in hand in the final turn.
Yeah.
And it just came down to that luck of the draw.
And I mean, it's done differently, right? If you hit like a 1 with the Orc Patrol and then the 3 with a foul thing, then suddenly 3 people die. Yeah. Unless you use Mithril. Sure.
Oh man, just no.
Mithril is gone.
So I think he had 2 shots at a a snipe with those 2 respective cards. Each one probably at like a roughly something 20 to 30% chance of winning.
No chance of winning.
Sorry, if he was looking for trying to hit the threes, was it more like 20%, 15 to 20%, something like that?
So the first time he had a 2 out of 8 or something.
So okay, so that'd be 25.
But then there's Mithril, so
you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Been extremely unlucky, but you could have forced Mithril, and that would have been big.
But even forcing Mithril, even then he get another shot, and then he just needed to just not hit the eyes. Yeah, just those.
Anything
eyes.
but eyes would be good.
Yeah.
Getting a 3 would be extremely good. But yeah, in the end he got.
CircleDakkon interestingly says I should have been punished for discarding Bilbo's song.
Yeah, I was surprised at the time because it felt like he would have a lot of time. But at the same time, I can understand it because Fellowship was so healthy. It was very unlikely that he would have needed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it. So no game 3.
No game 3, sadly.
We have a new and old champion. And,
well, thanks for watching, everybody. It's been a pleasure to commentate with you.
Yeah, thanks for keeping me company, and hopefully we can get some more exciting games in the future together.
Indeed. Yeah, we're looking to do a podcast episode right at some point, so that would be cool.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Right, then thanks for joining me, and thank you all for watching.
Yep.
Have a good day, and once again, congratulations to CircleDakkon. Well played, well deserved, and let's see if somebody can match you next year.
Yeah, can he go for the hat trick, the big 3?
The hat trick, wow. That would be so ridiculous.
Amazing. Yeah. Cool. All right, cheers everybody. Bye-bye.